Hi everybody. Today we're going to start a new series. This is going to be totally dedicated to databases. More specifically, we're going to be using the MySQL database, also pronounced MySQL. Here's their website. You can get a lot of information from here. It's also a great reference tool, and you can download different versions of MySQL here too as well. In order to do this tutorial along with me, you have to have your database hosted somewhere. In my case, I host with a company, a pretty well-known company in the hosting world called HostGator. I believe Brandon hosts here too. I've referred tons of clients here. In fact, I have a resell hosting plan with them that I offer to my clients for dirt cheap as well. I've loved them. Their support's great. But moving on, you can get a plan with them. I believe one of their cheapest plans starts at about $4 a month if you order it for 3 years. And you should be able to get at least one database. Yeah, you can get unlimited databases with that plan, so that's great. The other method would be to install a server on your own machine. I'd say probably the easiest way to do so would be to install an Apache server. And there's a website, apachefriends.org, where you can download their XAMPP software. And what this will do is it will install a whole package of tools here: the phpMyAdmin, MySQL, the Apache server, PHP and pair support, and so on. As far as I can tell, it's probably the easiest way to set up a server. If you're trying to set up an Apache server on your own, it can be quite a headache, so you might as well let these guys do it for you, especially if you're a beginner. For this series, however, we're going to be using my hosting account, and we can access our hosting account through cPanel here. This is my reseller hosting company. I call it Help Us Host. cPanel is a pretty common tool when you get a hosting service. There's a couple other popular ones out there, Plesk and I believe Virtuoso, but I'm pretty comfortable with cPanel. You have all your stats for your site here and such. Bunch of options here for mail, files and FTP accounts, logs and more stats, domain name, stuff like that. But anyways, we're going to get into databases here. And assuming you're going to be looking at the same thing I've got here, we're going to go to databases and click on MySQL databases. And this is going to bring up a page that allows you to create and modify databases, users, etc. And what we're going to do is first create a database, and we'll call this simply basics. And there are some rules to naming databases. cPanel does a pretty good job of yelling at you if you do something wrong. For instance, if I try to put another underscore here, I'll get a nasty message. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll click Create Database, and it'll tell you that it was successful. And we can go ahead and click Go Back, and it'll take us back to the previous screen. The next step is, if you haven't already, you need to create a database user. So we'll go ahead and do that now. So we'll put in the database name, or the the username. We'll just call this sample, and you put in your password. I do recommend a pretty strong password for databases. There's nothing more upsetting and annoying than having your database hacked. Thank you, hackers. Anyway, so one thing to note really quick is that our database name here is actually going to be not just sample, or excuse me, our username is not going to be just sample, it's going to be dnet_sample. Dnet is my hosting username, and that's how HostGator keeps these users separate by adding this, so no one else is going to have this prefix to the username besides us. If you're doing this on a local machine on your own server, you won't have to worry about that there. You can make your usernames whatever you want. Same goes for the database name, as you see here. Moving on. We need to create this user, so we'll go ahead and click Create User. You're going to get this message saying it was successful. Let's go ahead and click Go Back. And let's scroll on down to the bottom of the page. The last step in putting a database together is we need to attach a user to it, or in this, as they put it, add a user to the database. So we'll select our user, which is sample, and our database, which is basics, and we'll click add. Alright, and before we successfully add this user to the database, we have to set the user's privileges. And with these privileges, they are associated with the database and the user together, but the user themselves don't keep these privileges. It is only when using this database. So you can set different privileges for the same user for different databases, if that makes sense. Now, for this example, we're going to go ahead and just check all privileges. And this is fine, I guess, if you're just developing. But once your site's live, you should probably come through and uncheck a few of these, and that'll help in the event that someone has hacked into your database. It'll help doing certain things to your database maliciously. And you would also, if you're going to create usernames for team members working on a project as well, you might limit their access to. Anyway, go ahead and click Make Changes. And it's going to tell us that it was successfully added to the database. And instead of going back, let's click Home up at the top left here, and we'll scroll back down to the databases section. The tool we're going to be using to work in these databases is phpMyAdmin. So let's go ahead and click this, and it's going to open this up in another tab, which is kind of handy. And when we start the next part of this, or the next lesson in this series, we will go through some of the basics of the phpMyAdmin application.